Hey everybody, Annette here, also known as Grandma D. Today we're going to talk about a little bit different topic. I did mention this in an earlier video, and I have finally got my list. I wanted to have some talking points to share with you. Try and keep this at a minimum because sometimes I tend to get a little chatty. But we're starting on a new journey. I am, and I'm hoping that you will walk this journey with me, possibly. I am working once again toward the goal of becoming debt free. And I have done this before in the past, and it has been very successful. I wound up with money in the bank. A lot of my bills got paid. It takes a while to be debt free or to be in the proximity um, because one of the thumbnails that's kind of hard to swallow when you're working on being debt free is that for every 6 months that you spend going into debt will take 3 years to get out of debt. Let's say that one more time. For every 6 months you spend mindlessly going into debt, or whether it's intentional or not, it can take 3 years to pull out of that. So if you're in your 40s, as an example, and you have been accumulating debt for the last 10 years, you're looking at least 6 to 7, maybe 8 years to be completely debt free. And the reason for that is because we get loans for things: cars, boats, travel trailers, houses, mortgages, credit cards that have $30,000 on them. And it takes a long time to pay that off. That's not a poof overnight kind of thing. So you got to remember that as you're spending, as you're working in this program with me. I'm just going to put a video up every once in a while and talk about some of my progress and talk more about things you can do to be smart with your money. You control your money. It does not control you. You have to tell yourself that. I am in control. These are my decisions, my free will. So with that said, and as I stated before, for every 6 months that we spend going into debt, it can take up to 3 years or more to pull out of that particular debt. And we have to remember that becoming debt free is not a race, it's a journey. And it's very important that we understand that this is a long-term goal, not a goal that we're going to be done and over with and moving on in 6 months, because it's going to take 6 months for you to see the fruits of your labor in your savings account at the bank. And if you don't have a bank account, you may want to get one, just because there's a lot of good things about having a bank account. You can earn interest in your savings account. It's not a lot, but it's out there, and it helps you to track your spending if you're using a debit card. Now, I personally do use my debit card, but I'm also a strong proponent of a checkbook and cash. And my reasoning behind that is that when you're writing a check or when you're pulling cash out of your pocket, it gives you the opportunity to say, do I really want this? Because it can be mindless swiping a debit card, stick it in the machine, walk away, done. They say checkbooks are old school. Well, there's value to a checkbook that a lot of people don't think about, because you're looking back at them on your checking account at the bank, and you'll see a check come through for $50, and you'll be like, what was that? And you can click on it and see the check. You can see the physical check, and you're like, oh. Whereas if you buy something through PayPal or with your debit card, a lot of times there's no identification at the bank other than like a bunch of numbers and $50 on your debit card. So there is that for value when you're starting your journey and setting up your spending. This is a financial learning experience. It helps you to identify your strengths and your weaknesses with spending, and where you can cut and where you choose not to cut. So you're going to find things throughout your journey that, like, I just don't want to give that up. Like your Starbucks in the morning on the way to work. That's $5 or more. But if you don't want to give it up, you're going to have to cut something else in order to be debt free. So, and there is, like I said, there's setbacks and there's joy in the journey. There totally is. Because, like, as an example, I had some major issues with my car recently. Okay. And I've been working on this journey for a while again. So I had some money in the bank, in my savings account. Joy in the bank. Setback, my car broke down. And I need my car to go to work. I have a very long commute. I can't get to work without my car. So I had to fix my car. It was a major expense. It was over $3,000 by the time I was done. 2 separate occasions. New tires, a brand new set of snow tires, plus the repairs. 2 repairs. And brakes, rotors, all of that, and then the repair. So I had enough money in the bank that I was able to pull that out, joy, and pay half, over half, I think, if I actually did the math, in cash. And then the rest I put on my credit card. But I used my credit union credit card, which has 9% interest, versus my Chase Visa that has, like, I don't know, 18 or 22% interest. It's ridiculous. I saw a credit card recently one time, 39% interest. People, if you do not know what your interest is on your credit cards, that needs to be a priority. You need to check that. You need to know what interest you earn at your credit union or your bank when you put money in. You need to know what the interest is on your cards. And also, one thing that's interesting that you can learn is, as an example, one of my credit cards, I can get a cash advance. I shouldn't call it a cash advance. Like, they send me checks, blank checks, and I can write a check for a major expense at 0 interest for X number of months, like 12 months or 15 months. Usually it's like 9 to 12 months is what they do. So now I could have done that for my car. But I didn't think I was going to be able to pay it off in time because I've had some other expenses as well. So you can do that. But then when you pay your credit card each month, this is very important. You'll have your regular monthly payment for what's charged on the card. Then you'll have a separate payment for that particular check that you wrote. And you want to call your credit card company and talk to them about it, because sometimes they will just deposit the money into your bank account, and then you can spend it as you wish. And then you have so many months to pay that back before they start charging interest. So you got to make those 2 separate payments. And you have to call them usually to make the secondary payment every month. It's a pain in the neck, but it's 0 interest. It's like free money, 0 interest. And I wouldn't recommend doing it all the time, but it's good for an emergency. I've done it a few times. I've done it to help my kids out a couple times. I've done it to buy things that I needed for my house a couple times. And it's good. Like, say you've got a $3,000 item and you've got $2,200 squirreled around, but you need that extra $600, you can write a check and then pay that off in so many months. But if you don't, they charge interest retroactive back. So you got to keep that in mind. You got to stay on top of that. So that's an option with credit cards. So those are examples of the joys and some of the setbacks. But because you were working towards the joy, you had the money to take care of the setback. So that's a total win. That's a total win. So, and also, unless things get desperate, and when I say desperate, I mean like you're in threat of losing your home and being homeless. Your car has had a major breakdown and you have no way to get to work and you need a car. Or you have a family member, God forbid, who gets ill and they don't have insurance and you have to pay expenses, medical expenses. Those are situations when they call for desperate measures and some really hard and fast cuts to your finances to allow you to take care of that and rectify that situation, whatever it is. And again, that may take time. It may not happen right away. But a lot of things are fixable. A lot of things can be rectified. You have to be prepared to talk to your creditors. There's a lot of companies out there that offer financial guidance and will help you lower your bills. But you can do that yourself. You don't have to pay someone to do it for you. Unless you have a real fear of calling these people and talking to them, because some of them can be kind of aggressive, but you got to have a thick skin. This gal's got a thick skin. I'm like, I don't think so. And, but like, you can call them and talk to them about reducing your interest rate, changing your minimum amount due. Do they have loan forgiveness? You can just talk to the representative and tell them a little bit about your situation. They don't have to know your life story. Don't give them that. Just give them enough to have them be helpful to you. As an example, I have Sirius XM in my car. And when I first got my car and it started up, it was at an introductory rate, which was pretty good. It was like, I don't know, 12 or 15 bucks a month. Well, then when the year rolled around and January 1st, the next year rolled around, I get this withdrawal from my account that was $29.95. I'm like, hold up. I called Sirius. I said, this isn't going to work. And I can't do this. So then they tried. They were like, oh, well, it's the best package and you get all blah, 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 blah. I said, nope. All I want is music. I don't want news. I don't want sports. I don't want nothing. And it's got to be under 10 bucks a month or we're done here. Well, my monthly amount is $7.99. I have a lot of channels for music. Plus, I have the app on my phone, the Sirius XM app on my phone, which is like a bonus. So I can listen to that when I'm out walking or running or doing whatever. I do it all the time. Plus, I have it on my Roku TV. So I have it in 3 places, all my favorite music for $7.99 a month. Or I could have went willy-nilly, drank the Kool-Aid and did the $29.95 a month? I don't think so. No, 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 no. And so then that's just an example of how if you call them and talk to them, and I just told them, I said, I'm not interested. I said, if you can't give me the rate, and every January I have to call. Every January I have to call and redo this conversation over again. Like, it's coming up because they're going to charge me the $29.95 in January. I call them. I say, no, I want the rate I had last year. They mill around. They say, well, I got to talk to somebody and yada, yada. And then they come back and they give it to me. And it's a dance we have to do every January. Because I tell them, I say, if you can't give me the rate I had last year, just cancel it. They don't want you to cancel. They don't want you to cancel. My car I've had for 3 years now. It's still $7.99. So, you can do that with a lot of subscriptions. I canceled a lot of my subscriptions that I had, a lot of my fabric subscriptions. I had other things that I canceled. And I have been, like I said, I've been doing this for like 6 months now, and I'm seeing a big difference in my bank account. I actually have money when I get my paycheck and I pay my bills. There's money left, which is nice because then I can put $100 or $200, whatever, into my savings account, and it sits there until I need it. That's a big relief. It's a big relief. So with all that said, our next question would be, where do I start? I don't even know what to do. How do I get started on this journey? Well, this is what I did. Okay. This is what I did. I went to the store, probably Walmart or something. I probably knowing me, I got this book on clearance. I did not pay full price for it. Probably got in some clearance rack somewhere. I don't even remember now. I've had it for like 10, 12 years. And it was a lot thicker when I started. But as I go through time, I rip the pages out and if I don't need them anymore. So just grab yourself either a spiral bound notebook. I have this little book here. You can use one of these, or you can get something a little fancier. Now, this book has pages like this that have, you can put your date here. You can put a little title, what you're doing, and it has these pages. These are what I was using when I was tracking my spending every month. I had a death in my family, lost some major income. I had a lot of bills. I had 2 houses. One was going to be a rental, and it had a mortgage. I lost my husband, and when I did, it was really hard. So I started writing down my bills every month. I would write the bill here, the date it was due, how much it was, how much I wanted to pay each month. And over here, the day I paid it and how much I paid. And then down here, I would write extra notes, passcodes, whatever I needed. And then I would just transfer it from here, like from here in January to here in February. And I just kept going through the book. And I did that for like 2 years until the second house was ready to be rented. And I was able to have an easier way. So, and then, so that is what this book is for. And then as well, one major thing that you need to do, you need to be totally honest with yourself. You need to have a conversation with yourself and say, okay, I'm not going to hide anything from myself. I'm not going to bend the numbers, because that doesn't help you. Is you need to take your book and you need to, there you go. You need to write down all your bills, all your spending, not just a bill, all your spending. I have my monthly bills, my credit cards, all my loans that I had at the time. This I did in March of 23 because I dated it. And all my utilities, all my insurances, my property taxes, car maintenance. You got to budget car maintenance, groceries, what you think you're spending on groceries, medications for me and my dogs. Both my dogs take medications. Any vet bills, the dog's treats, and additional expenses and estimated basic expenses. This side was my estimated basic expenses. That was to keep my household running. And this side was additional spending. And then I had estimated basic expenses and additional spending. And then I had my grand total. Then you decide how much you make every month, everything you bring in to keep your household running. Then you take this amount and you subtract it from that. That's your discretionary spending. You might be shocked. I was. Because, we all go to the gas station. We spend between $4 and $10 at the gas station in the morning, plus gas. Okay, plus gas. Some days it could be $50. If you fill your tank and you get a coffee and if you get a breakfast sandwich or something, you're at $50. Easy. And then if you smoke, you've got your cigs. And then if you like to play the lotto, you've got those. And then if you want any other recreational things from the gas station, whatever they have, you've got that stuff too. You might have to cut some things. But that's up to you. But I did. I cut a lot of that stuff out. Like, I don't smoke, but if I did, I'd try to quit. If I had, like, if you like to have a beverage every day, are you buying alcohol a couple times a week? You might have to stop that for a while. There's a lot of things you can do to curb the budget. But the first thing you need to do is be honest with yourself and start a list. And you may have to revise it a few times. It may shock you. You're going to have to do some research because you're going to have to look up all your loans, your credit cards, what your interest rate is, what your payments are, how long. Because on the credit card statement, it'll say, if you paid off in 6 months, this is your interest. If you pay it off in a year, it's this, or whatever. There's a chart on your credit card statement, on your hard paper statement, that tells you. And if you're not getting paper statements, maybe you're going to have to change that and get paper statements for a while to help you to physically see. Because, let's face it, sometimes we just go on the app, make our payment, and we don't even look at our statement. Let's be real. So you might have to do that. And you might have to get a physical statement from your bank or credit union every month if you're not doing that, to help you track. And you may take you 30 days to get a list that you feel is real and accurate. And that's okay. Because that's what you need to do to start. You need to get this list, get numbers that you feel are real, and put everything on there. Everything. If you are like me, I live in Michigan. I go to Meijer. I have an app for Meijer. If you're not sure how much you're spending on groceries, look at your Walmart.com app. Look at your Meijer app. Get an estimate for your groceries. You might have to save receipts for 30 days. Just put an envelope in your car and just shove them in there for 30 days, and then sit down and lay them all out and see what your spending looks like. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll give you an accurate enough picture to be able to figure out what you're spending. Okay. And then, like I said, you need to keep receipts. You might have to do that, like keep your gas station receipts, and your Starbucks receipts. Your, like in Michigan, we have Big B Coffee as well as Starbucks, those receipts. If you go to Family Dollar, shove your receipt in there, because, sometimes we do like impulsive spending when we go to places like Family Dollar or whatever. And another thing is you're going to have to make grocery lists and maybe start planning your meals, your evening meal, and your lunches. Plan ahead for that. Make a grocery list. Make bigger meals and break them up instead of going to the restaurant. If you're stopping at McDonald's for lunch 3 days a week, you might have to stop doing that. And that's okay, because all this is temporary until you get your budget streamlined and you reach a point where you feel like you're on the road to being debt free and you start getting money in your bank account. Maybe you can take back a couple of those things that you gave up that bring you personal, instant gratification. There is so much to this. There's so many moving parts and components to becoming debt free. It's super important. And like I said, it's a life lesson that you can pass on to your children if you have children, or your nieces or your nephews or your family. We might have parents who don't know how to do this, and they're drowning and we don't even know it. You know, I remember when I was 15 and my dad passed away. My mother did not know how to write a check. My dad took care of everything. She was a 1960s mom. She stayed home. She took care of the family. She cooked. She cleaned. She made my clothes. She never paid any bills. My dad did it. I had to show my mom how to write a check at 16. So 15. So, I mean, it can happen. So, we're going to walk this journey together. What I'd like for you to do over the next few weeks is to start figuring out your spending. If you want to do this, start figuring out your spending. Start writing it down, and or make a spreadsheet on the computer, whatever makes you happy. And do that. And we can circle back around. Like I said, I've been doing this for a while, so I'm ahead of you a little bit probably. But it's a journey. It's not a race. It's a financial learning experience that will be riddled with setbacks and joys. So let's do this thing. And I'll be back next time with some more tips, some more advice about retirement, and a lot of other things that you might find really helpful. So that's all I have for today. So this is Annette, also known as Grandma D, saying I hope you have a great day today and a better day tomorrow. And we'll be back soon with some unboxing videos, some sewing videos. I got some great things coming up. Got my Cotton Cuts box. Got my Missouri Star Jenny's Christmas box back there. That's coming. So stick around. You have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye for now.